We've all been there, letting something slide just to keep the peace. But have you ever stopped to think about the real cost of that silence? Today, we're going to dig into the hidden price of condoning bad behavior and these silent agreements we make that can lead to some surprisingly huge consequences. It really all boils down to this one simple, powerful truth. When you let a negative action go unchecked, you are essentially rewarding bad behavior. And that single idea right there is the key to understanding a pattern that can just chew away at relationships, teams, and even our own self-respect. Okay, so the best way to think about this is like a series of deals, little silent transactions that we're making all day, every day. So let's ask, what are the terms of these deals we're making? Right, so here's the heart of it. It's an exchange. We accept this small, immediate gain. Maybe we avoid an awkward argument, we keep things calm for a couple more hours, but the price we're paying for that little bit of peace is a massive long-term cost. We're basically teaching the other person that this negative action is okay and that it's going to happen again. It's a bad deal every single time. So if it's such a terrible deal, why do we make it so often? Well, the answer lies in the very powerful, very human appeal of avoidance. Let's take a closer look at why. Let me ask you this. What is that immediate payoff? What do you actually get in that split second you decide to just stay quiet instead of speaking up? The answer, almost always, is some kind of comfort or ease, right? And there it is. The payoff is avoiding a fight, keeping things quiet, taking that path of least resistance. It's that seductive little hope that if we just ignore the problem, maybe it'll just magically go away. We're buying ourselves a moment of quiet, a temporary ceasefire. This is just the perfect analogy for what's really going on. You're not actually solving anything. You're just kicking the can down the road. It's exactly like taking out a loan on your future peace of mind, and believe me, the interest on that loan, it compounds with every single incident. And just like any loan, that bill, it eventually comes due. So it's time we really calculate the true cost of our silence, because that invoice for our inaction, it always, always arrives. This just lays out the imbalance of the deal so clearly. I mean, look at the scale here. The gain is tiny, avoiding a single, maybe 5-minute awkward moment. But the cost, it's monumental. You are literally normalizing disrespect. You're teaching someone that it's an acceptable way to interact with you. That is a catastrophic price to pay. And you can see here, the cost isn't just 1 + 1 + 1. No, it's exponential. The first time something happens, it's a small problem, but by the 5th time, it's a frustrating pattern. By the 20th time, man, it can feel like a fundamental crack in the entire relationship. The problem doesn't just grow, it multiplies, and it gets harder and harder to fix. And this is where that debt leads. Trust just wears away. The behavior often gets worse because, hey, why not? There are no consequences. Resentment starts building up quietly under the surface. And eventually, you risk what you could call behavioral bankruptcy. That point where the relationship is just so damaged by all this accumulated debt that it's not even solvent anymore. Okay, so that's the diagnosis. The obvious question is, how do we fix it? Well, the good news is, you're never truly locked into these terms. You can change the deal. It all starts with making a decision to refinance this behavioral debt. And this part is absolutely key. This isn't about picking a fight or pointing fingers. This is not about winning or losing. It's actually a constructive act of self-respect. It's about calmly and clearly defining a new, healthier standard for how you expect and deserve to be treated. So here's a practical 4-step way to do it. First up, audit the account. You have to get crystal clear on exactly what behavior you're letting slide. Get specific. It's not just being rude, it's interrupting me when I'm talking. Step 2. Stop the payments. Your silence, your compliance, that's the reward. So stop giving it away. This is where you take your power back. Third, set new terms. Calmly and clearly state your boundary, not with anger, but with firmness. A simple, I need to feel respected in our conversations can be incredibly powerful. And finally, the most important step of all, enforce the contract. If the boundary is crossed again, you have to follow through. Consistency is everything. Without it, the new terms are totally meaningless. Because ultimately, this is the whole point, isn't it? You're making a conscious choice to trade a fleeting moment of comfort for something so much more valuable, a real foundation of long-term respect and health in your relationships. Yeah, it might feel a little harder in the moment, but the return on that investment is, well, it's infinite. So we'll end with this question for you to think about. Take a moment and really consider the deals you've been making. Think about those accounts you've let go into default. Which behavioral debts in your life have been compounding for way too long and are finally due for collection?